The hidden door has been present in your familiar room for a very long time, often unnoticed. You approach it not with loud declarations or a dramatic show, but with a quiet click, a tiny internal movement that subtly yet profoundly changes the entire trajectory of your life. The modern world frequently teaches us that any significant transformation must be announced, made visible, and celebrated with sound to be considered real or trustworthy. It suggests that to truly be different, you must perform a new version of yourself for an audience, seeking external validation for internal shifts. Yet, all true and lasting transformation, the kind that deeply alters your being, is born in silence. It is in these quiet, often unseen moments that your nervous system begins the intricate work of weaving new microscopic pathways. Your old identity, without needing any witnesses or fanfare, quietly begins to lose its power and influence. The pervasive pressure to be seen, to display every step of your journey, is a subtle and often deceptive trap. It risks turning genuine inner transformation into mere theater, a performance for others rather than an authentic internal evolution. This outward focus drains your vital energy and demands proof of growth, even when the seed of change has barely taken root, long before it has had a chance to anchor itself firmly. You do not, in fact, need applause or external recognition. What you truly need is an internal coherence, a stable alignment within yourself. Only this deep coherence can hold a new frequency steady, maintaining its integrity, while reality inevitably tests its strength and resilience. The brain rewires itself most effectively in silence. During these quiet periods, microfirings occur, connecting neurons that perhaps never communicated before, forging fragile new circuits, often as delicate as a single strand of hair. This foundational stage of growth is particularly vulnerable. It cannot bear the noise of constant proving or performance. In response, the quantum field reflects this clarity, manifesting as opportune synchronicities, perfectly aligned opportunities, and meaningful encounters that carry a profound significance for your journey. Conversely, when these elements are fragmented, when your thoughts pull in one direction and your emotions in another, the signal grows muddy and indistinct. The energetic waves scatter chaotically, and your experience of reality becomes heavy, resistant, and burdensome, often leaving you feeling lost and unmoored. Quantum physics offers a profound parallel, reminding us of that suspended field of potential where, before observation, particles exist in a state of superposition, infinite possibilities layered in absolute stillness. The wave collapse, the moment a particle assumes a definite state, does not occur with a roar or a dramatic explosion. Instead, it clicks quietly, like the flick of a switch in a dark room, and suddenly, everything rearranges itself without a sound. Human transformation operates in much the same way. It does not draw its power from volume or external noise. Its strength is derived from deep internal alignment, from the precise harmony between your thoughts, your emotions, and your physical body. When these three elements move together in unison, the signal you emit becomes clean, clear, and unmixed. The quantum field, the fabric of reality, responds to this clean signal, and circumstances around you gradually begin to reshape themselves to match your new internal state. The issue is rarely a lack of effort. More often, it is a conflict of signal. Researchers in fields like energy biology and biofeedback have consistently demonstrated that your heart generates an electromagnetic field many times more potent and expansive than that produced by your brain. This powerful field's rhythm dynamically shifts and adapts in accordance with your emotional state. When you consciously cultivate states of gratitude, profound love, or deep peace, your heartbeat becomes smoother, more regular, and synchronizes beautifully with your breath. This creates measurable waves of harmony, known as heart coherence. It listens to the emotional baseline you consistently hold for the majority of your day. Therefore, if you wish to open that hidden door to profound change, The very first step is not to announce your plan to someone or seek their approval. The initial, crucial step is to meticulously clean your inner space, allowing one clear, unwavering frequency to stand firm and stable. Society often rewards announcements and outward displays of ambition. Modern platforms actively encourage noise and constant sharing. However, noise is inherently expensive. It drains the precious focus and energy that your new frequency urgently needs to stabilize and solidify. Everything simply aligned and converged into a unified experience. That very state serves as undeniable proof that you and the quantum field are capable of synchronizing, of dancing together in perfect rhythm. If such alignment can occur spontaneously, it logically follows that you can also consciously recreate it, making it a deliberate habit and a foundational pillar for your daily existence. Consider the times you have truly changed, not the day you vocally declared your intention, but the quiet moment you felt an unmistakable click deep within your chest. It was a subtle shift, yet suddenly, the familiar landscape of your inner world rotated by a single, critical degree. A situation that once instinctively triggered a defensive reaction no longer did. Words that once deeply disturbed or provoked you now pass through you effortlessly, like air. That, precisely, is the moment the axis of your identity subtly turned. No one else perceived it. Not even you could fully articulate it with words, but your body knew. Your brain recorded the shift. From that precise point, your decisions began to change, millimeter by millimeter, accumulating into a new orbit of being. A slow, deliberate breath, a gentle, reassuring hand placed over your heart, or a brief, intentional moment to recall a feeling of genuine gratitude. All of these are potent yet simple ways of fine-tuning your energetic frequency, much like an artist meticulously tunes the strings of their instrument before a significant performance. These seemingly small, conscious acts hold the immense power to shift your entire reality. By understanding this profound mechanism, you come to realize that days of effortless flow and days of challenging resistance are not simply random occurrences of luck. You cannot physically pull a sprout up by hand to make it grow faster. Just as you cannot force profound manifestation with noisy, elaborate rituals, while your inner state remains chaotic and discordant. To truly accelerate your transformation, you must learn to subtract. Stop constantly checking for external proof every hour. Stop feeling the need to explain yourself or your journey to others. Stop constructing rigid, overly complicated schedules that make you rigid, but keep your engagement with the core task shallow. Instead, embrace and consistently repeat a simple ritual. Practice breathing slower than you are accustomed to. Choose one core feeling, perhaps peace, abundance, or gratitude, and consciously allow it to stay long enough to become your consistent baseline emotional state. Every effective strategy of transformation begins with the way you speak to yourself internally. Replace the demanding internal monologue of "I must prove myself" with the steady affirmation, "I hold steady." Replace "I will show them" with the gentle decree, "I allow my body to learn a new rhythm." The body, being a creature of habit, learns most effectively through consistent, gentle repetition. Dedicate just 5 minutes of genuine silence each day, without engaging in comparison to others, without forcing an outcome, just allowing one clean, pure feeling to permeate your being: peace, abundance, or gratitude, whichever you can authentically access in that moment. What truly matters is not the specific label of the feeling, but the purity and consistency of the signal you are emitting. If, even during your conscious breath, you still find yourself whispering old fears or doubts, the signal becomes mixed, and the universal field cannot respond with the clarity and coherence you desire. You might naturally ask how you can know if you are on the right path. The authentic sign is not that others suddenly notice a dramatic change in you, but rather that a new, conscious space opens up between an external stimulus and your automatic reaction. You gain more room to consciously choose your response. You rush less to fix or control situations. You stop seeking external permission for your choices and actions. You begin to choose smaller, more authentic steps, guided by an inner knowing rather than external pressure. This field is not invisible to the subtle layers of reality. Rather, it is the unique energetic signature that precisely defines you in the discerning eyes of the quantum field. This frequency does not solely reflect your passing emotions, like transient clouds across the sky. It also unveils a deeper, more foundational layer that scientists and energy practitioners refer to as your baseline frequency. This is the foundational tone, the core energetic hum that is present even when you are seemingly doing nothing, thinking nothing. The hidden door ultimately opens with a handle forged from silent, unwavering consistency. Try a very simple framework 3 times a day, for just 2 minutes each session. Place your hand on your heart. Inhale slowly and deeply. Exhale longer than your inhale. Close your eyes. Hold one clear emotional image in your mind, not of specific material things, but of the pure feeling you experience when everything in your life feels exactly right. Allow your body to deeply record this sensation. Let your brain begin to wire this new experience. Let the nascent circuit strengthen with each repetition. If you happen to miss a session, do not fall into self-judgment. Judgment itself is a form of noise and interference. Simply return to the rhythm at your very next scheduled session. Your primary task is consistent repetition. The rest, the profound unfolding, belongs to the vast, intelligent field of reality. And from this dim baseline, the quantum field can only ever echo back corresponding experiences, creating a persistent cycle that makes life feel like an inescapable loop of repetition and stagnation. Yet, there exists a miraculous, transformative truth that few people recognize. You can consciously adjust the song you emit. You possess the power to fundamentally recalibrate your baseline frequency and, in doing so, open up a completely new coordinate in the quantum field. A place where possibilities you have never before conceived are patiently waiting to be manifest. When those roots become strong and deeply embedded, you will no longer require such high walls of protection. The most significant temptation you must consistently resist is the insistent desire for immediate, tangible proof. You naturally want to see money suddenly appear, doors effortlessly open, and people praising your transformation. However, causality in the universe does not obey impatience or urgency. It responds only to profound stability. Stability, the bedrock of lasting change, grows only when you allow the early, foundational days of your new practice to pass without demanding immediate fireworks or dramatic displays. You do not engage in the silent ritual because results have already shown themselves. You hold the ritual precisely to create those results. That fundamental distinction marks the difference between someone who truly transforms and someone who circles endlessly in the same patterns, never breaking free. The profound question then becomes, which energetic climate will you consciously choose to cultivate for your life? Your small, daily choices shift their axis, and the universal field begins the intricate work of rearranging everything to perfectly match the new frequency you now steadily hold. To truly anchor this new understanding and intention, engage in one brief, simple ritual tonight before you drift off to sleep. Turn off all screens and electronic devices, ensuring your environment is dark and quiet. Sit straight or lie still, allowing your body to relax without tension. Breathe in slowly for a count of 4, then exhale even more slowly for a count of 6. Maintain this rhythmic breathing for just 2 minutes. Following this, allow your entire body to fill with a deep, resonant feeling of enoughness, a profound sense of wholeness, completeness, and satisfaction. Look closely at your own life, and you will undoubtedly identify habits that, while seemingly harmless on the surface, constantly reinforce and perpetuate your existing baseline frequency. Waking up and immediately diving into your phone, checking a deluge of messages, or instantly consuming negative news broadcasts, rehearsing old painful stories and grievances, keeps your baseline dim and constrained, anchoring you to the past. From that moment onward, every step you take will move with an inherent force, even without the need for external noise or grand gestures. The quantum field, the very fabric of existence, does not interpret your spoken words or your intellectual intentions. It perceives and responds to the authentic rhythm you emit when you finally cease trying to control everything. It does not respond to pleading, bargaining, or clever slogans. It responds directly to the state of being you consistently sustain long enough for it to become your natural, undeniable signature, your inherent frequency. Humanity has been conditioned, through various social and cultural influences, to believe that they must shout to be heard and push tirelessly to prove their worthiness. Yet, the profound truth is astonishingly simple. The quieter and more coherent the frequency you emit, the more precise and aligned the response from the universe. Everything in the universe operates through resonance, a fundamental principle of vibrational harmony. Touching this deepest coordinate brings not only profound inner peace and unwavering certainty, but also powerfully magnetizes the precise opportunities, relationships, and experiences that are perfectly aligned with your unique soul journey and deepest purpose. Accessing this coherent signature does not require a distant monastery, years of arduous training, or withdrawal from the world. It simply requires you to learn how to consciously synchronize your mind, your emotions, and your body. It arises from a state of absolute stillness, where the analytical mind stops its ceaseless processing. Emotions cease their struggle and resistance, and the physical body softens and releases its ingrained tensions. When all three, mind, emotion, and body, align in this coherent state, a clean, potent electromagnetic signal radiates outward. This signal is so coherent, so pure, that the field of reality cannot help but respond in kind. Science refers to this state as coherence, the harmonious alignment of oscillating systems. Ancient mystics, across various traditions, called it oneness or unity. Different names perhaps, but ultimately, one profound essence. Everything you seek already exists within this vast, suspended field of potential, patiently waiting for the correct, unmixed signal from you. Once you transmit that signal consistently, the field answers with flawless precision. The pervasive challenge is that most people live in a constant state of internal static. Their mind desires one thing, their emotions secretly crave another, and their physical body continues to replay old, familiar patterns and reactions. They broadcast hundreds of conflicting, incoherent signals each day, and then wonder why the universe appears not to hear them. In truth, they cannot even hear their own authentic selves amidst the internal clamor. You might intellectually declare that you desire freedom, yet your body tightens with anxiety at the mere thought of taking a risk. You might say you want love, yet your emotions still cling tightly to past doubts and insecurities. You might articulate a desire for abundance, yet your mind obsessively calculates every expense, operating from a place of scarcity. The universal field, ruthlessly honest and purely responsive to vibration, does not respond to your words or declarations. It responds directly to your underlying frequency. If your deep underlying signal is one of fear, lack, or the need for control, that is precisely what will be mirrored back to you in your external reality. To change your results, you do not need to shout louder or exert more force. You need to cultivate a deeper, more consistent inner quietude. When your mind and body begin to move in harmonious rhythm, your heart rate naturally steadies, your brain waves slow into more peaceful patterns, and your nervous system shifts from a state of survival and defense to one of creation and openness. The energy that was previously trapped in resistance is released, flowing freely to build a new, aligned version of reality. There are no dramatic fireworks, only a gentle, profound movement beneath still water. Each time you notice a worried thought or a spiraling anxiety, breathe deeply and consciously. allowing it to pass like a cloud across the sky without attaching to it. Each time you find yourself overreacting to a situation, remember that you have the inherent power to return to your breath, to your calm center. Every such conscious choice is like a precise turn of the tuning peg on your energetic instrument, and gradually, over time, your inner song grows clearer, more resonant, and profoundly harmonious. They might successfully tune their frequency in the morning, only to return to a state of internal chaos by noon, metaphorically switching the light of coherence on and off, then wondering why the room of their life remains persistently dark. The field does not reject you. It simply cannot decode a signal that is constantly breaking, flickering, and inconsistent. Maintaining coherence is the true, consistent work, because it demands that you release the urgent need for immediate external proof. The moment you begin to doubt, coherence subtly collapses. The moment you check too soon for results, the nascent circuit of change loses its power. Physical reality operates with a delay. It requires time to rearrange itself around your new, stable internal pattern. And in that crucial gap between your internal shift and external manifestation, silence becomes your ultimate test. If you can steadfastly hold the stillness without reverting to old, familiar ways of thinking, feeling, and behaving, you have successfully crossed the threshold between the old mind and the emerging new self. Observe water when the wind completely stops blowing. The surface of the lake smooths out until it perfectly mirrors the entire sky above. That, precisely, is coherence. You do not have to force it. You only need to allow it to emerge naturally. The calmer the internal surface, the clearer and more accurate the reflection of your desired reality. If waves of doubt or anxiety still ripple across your inner landscape, the image becomes distorted, and you might mistakenly believe the world is somehow wrong or resisting you, but it is only mirroring your own inner motion and turbulence. And when you consciously choose harmony, the universe will undeniably sing a perfectly synchronized song back to you. An echo of your own radiant being. It knows when to open, when to rest deeply, when to receive nourishment. However, the ceaseless chatter of the mind is often so loud and insistent that very few ever learn to truly hear this innate bodily wisdom. You do not need to learn complex techniques for creating miracles. You only need to stop constantly interrupting the natural harmonious order of the universal field. Each time you hold a positive feeling, only to immediately demand an external result from it, that precious coherence vanishes because the underlying vibration of calculation and expectation is fundamentally one of lack. True coherence exists only in a state of deep, unwavering trust. Trust, in this context, is not merely blind faith. It is a profound biological state where the body inherently knows it is safe and supported. Your heart and brain synchronize their rhythms, hormones come into natural balance, and the creative process naturally begins to unfold. When your heart beats rhythmically and coherently, it emits a powerful electromagnetic wave that extends several meters around your body. That measurable wave actively interacts with the quantum field. You cannot physically see it, but its presence is scientifically measurable, and it subtly influences reality in ways that your analytical mind might not yet fully comprehend. Never underestimate the immense power of one genuinely coherent moment of peace. A single minute of deep coherence can effectively undo 10 minutes of internal chaos and discord. Just as one perfectly pure note can bring harmony and order to an entire symphony. Yet, humans are often profoundly addicted to noise, to constant movement, to external stimulation, so much so that genuine stillness feels like an unsettling emptiness. And in that perceived emptiness, they impulsively fill the space with more thought, more action, more analysis, inadvertently breaking their own coherence without even realizing the profound impact. To truly access your creative power and influence, you must learn to not only tolerate, but to endure and embrace stillness. Stillness is not an absence of doing. It is, in fact, an act of complete and profound awareness, breathing consciously, moving deliberately with intention, making choices from a place of calm presence rather than urgent reactivity. When you learn to live consistently in that frequency, everything in your life begins to simplify. Struggle fades away. Deep alignment naturally emerges. You no longer frantically chase opportunities. Instead, they begin to naturally locate you. Your brain functions more harmoniously, with increased neural integration. Your hormones balance, leading to greater physiological stability, and your body as a whole enters a new, more efficient, and regenerative rhythm. More than just internal shifts, the powerful wave of heart coherence radiates outwards, touching the quantum field and sending a clear, unmistakable message of inner harmony, order, and potential. It is not about persuading the field. It is about allowing the field to genuinely feel you, to resonate with your authentic frequency. Recall the last time you experienced this delightful flow. Perhaps you thought of an old friend you hadn't spoken to in years, and within hours, you inexplicably received a message or call from them. Or perhaps you were deeply focused on a creative project, and suddenly, you stumbled upon the exact material, information, or resource you needed without having to actively search for it. This is heart coherence actively at work. It's not a mystical miracle in the traditional sense, but rather the natural, predictable response of the intelligent quantum field to your clear, coherent, energetic signal. In such moments, life truly feels like music flowing, and you are both the appreciative listener and the skilled, engaged player in its grand symphony. Understand that this profound state of coherence is not a distant, esoteric concept reserved exclusively for spiritual masters or enlightened beings. It is an innate, inherent power residing within you, accessible at any moment. And when your signal changes with unwavering consistency, the world, by the laws of resonance, must inevitably respond and align. Remember, coherence itself does not create miracles in the sense of defying natural laws. Instead, it precisely removes the interference, the static, the resistance, so that miracles' natural harmonious occurrences can move freely and effortlessly into your experience. Everything you have ever asked for, every genuine desire, has always been there, waiting for you to become quiet enough to hear the field answering back. When your mind becomes truly still and coherent, the frequencies that inherently belong to you will find their way home, effortlessly. And in that profound understanding, you will realize that the universe was never truly silent or unresponsive with you. It was you who had never truly become silent enough within yourself to listen to its constant, resonant answers. Nothing in your life truly changes until your core identity shifts. You can change your surroundings, acquire a new job, even alter the people you associate with. But if the old identity, the old blueprint of who you believe you are, is still in control, you are merely driving in circles on a freshly repainted road, experiencing superficial changes without fundamental transformation. Every behavior, every emotion, and every choice you make follows the deeply ingrained blueprint of who you profoundly believe you are. Identity is, in essence, the operating system of your personal reality. And as long as you have not consciously updated that core operating system, no amount of strenuous effort or willpower will successfully override the old, outdated code. It is not that you haven't tried. It is that you are attempting to change as the old self, and that previous version simply does not have access to new, desired outcomes. Once you grasp this fundamental truth, you stop obsessing over external actions, and instead begin asking the only question that truly matters. Who am I when this action is being taken? The field does not respond to mere words or intellectual affirmations. It responds to your state of being. If you still carry the underlying vibration of lack, every intention you set for abundance becomes mere static, an incoherent signal. Think of coherence like the meticulous tuning of a guitar. Loose, untuned strings produce a dull, unpleasant sound. But even one small, precise adjustment brings forth clarity, resonance, and harmonious tone. Your mind and body function in precisely the same way. Each conscious return to your breath is like a deliberate turn of the tuning peg on your inner instrument. And when all your strings, your mind, emotions, and body align, you emit a powerful, beautiful music that the quantum field must inevitably respond to, with corresponding harmony. You may intellectually say you believe in abundance, but if your stomach habitually tightens with anxiety when you think of upcoming bills, your body is unequivocally broadcasting the opposite message, and the field, loyal only to the laws of physics and resonance, will mirror back the real, underlying frequency, not the words you speak. To fundamentally change your identity, you cannot force it through sheer willpower. You must retrain your nervous system through new experiences, small, consistent, and repeated until your brain accepts them as the new normal, the new default. Neuroplasticity confirms that you can indeed rewire your brain and nervous system, but this profound process demands patience and quietude, because these new neural circuits are incredibly fragile at first, like tender young shoots. Imagine a forest trail. Every old thought and habitual reaction creates a familiar, well-trodden path that hardens the soil, making it easy to follow. When you consciously choose to think differently, feel differently, and behave differently, you are effectively starting to walk through tall, untrodden grass, feeling unsure, perhaps unsteady. You naturally become an anchor, a source of stability, not only for yourself but for those around you. This is the clearest, most unmistakable sign that you are truly living from your coherent signature. How, then, do you effectively practice coherence and make it an integral part of your daily rhythm? Simply begin each morning, before you even touch your phone or engage with external stimuli, by dedicating 3 conscious minutes to heart coherence breathing. Place one hand gently over your heart. Inhale deeply for 5 counts, feeling the breath fill your chest. Exhale slowly for 5 counts, releasing any tension. As you do this, deliberately recall a moment of profound gratitude, allowing the feeling to well up within you. When identity truly shifts, effort disappears, because aligned action becomes a natural, joyful extension of your internal state. The problem arises when most people try to act like the new version without fundamentally becoming it. They imitate the desired behaviors while remaining deeply anchored in the old, unshifted state. And that internal split, that lack of congruence, inevitably exhausts them, leading to burnout and frustration. Real, lasting change requires descending into the very roots of your beliefs, where you stop saying, "I am trying," and begin whispering, with deep conviction, "I already am." This is not lying to yourself. It is a powerful neurological command that actively rewrites your internal map. When you say, "I am becoming," your brain registers a sense of lack, an incomplete state. But when you declare, "I am," it immediately searches for evidence within your experience to stay consistent with that powerful statement. This fundamental mechanism is known as self-consistency, and it is precisely how you shift your internal and external realities. The new identity needs no external proof. It only needs embodiment through small, consistent gestures, new reactions to old triggers, and choices that are no longer dictated by past memory or conditioning. You will know that your identity has begun to profoundly change when things that used to deeply shake you now cause only a small, manageable ripple. When you stop arguing simply to be right, when you react less and observe more, with a detached curiosity, when you see clearly but remain internally still and unperturbed, that is not indifference. It is the calm, centered state of deep alignment. At this profound level, your brain actively starts weaving entirely new pathways. Your hormone levels shift into balance. Your body begins producing chemicals that precisely match the frequency of your new identity. Your biofield changes, and consequently, so does your emitted frequency. The universal field does not require physical evidence to respond. It only needs to sense absolute stability in your energetic wave. It is the conscious activation of a powerful internal key. A key I refer to as the heart key. The heart key is not an abstract or strange concept. It is an intrinsic power that has always resided within you, a part of your deepest being. However, it often remains unused because the incessant demands and habits of daily life keep your focus predominantly outward, causing you to forget that every conscious breath you take can open a profound gate. A gate that leads you directly back to your original, coherent state, where your energy is naturally clear, strong, and perfectly harmonious. Identity is the deep root. Action is merely the branch. To grow new, vibrant fruit, you do not simply paint the leaves. You must change the very seed itself. Some might ask, how do I truly know I have changed? The answer lies in reflex, not in conscious thought. When an old, challenging situation reappears, and you no longer need to consciously remind yourself to stay calm, yet you effortlessly remain calm. When you no longer try to think positively, but positivity arises naturally and spontaneously within you. When you no longer need external motivation, because your body itself instinctively wants to move forward with purpose, that precisely is when the new identity has taken deep root within your being. This profound inner stillness cannot be faked or manufactured because it is the natural result of coherence between your heart and brain, between your deepest beliefs and your consistent behavior. Remember, the universe never answers promises or mere intentions. It only responds to completion, to a state of being that is already whole and integrated. You send a clear, unmistakable signal, and the universe responds with corresponding, synchronized experiences and opportunities. The heart key does not demand that you drastically change your entire life in a single day. It only asks that you return to the rhythm of your heartbeat and your breath for a few intentional minutes each morning. Yet, its effect is far deeper and more transformative than you might initially think. As you inhale, new, vital energy enters your system. As you exhale, tension, stress, and negative thoughts are consciously released. Within mere minutes, you effectively reset your entire nervous system. Your body begins to naturally balance its hormones, lowering the stress hormone cortisol and raising the feel-good hormone oxytocin, thereby creating a natural, profound state of peace and well-being. More miraculously still, you are not just changing your inner chemistry, you are broadcasting a brand new, coherent song to the quantum field. And the universe will faithfully echo that song back to you by bringing experiences and circumstances that resonate at the very same frequency. And one day, people around you will look at you and remark, "You seem different," but no one will be able to truly explain why. Because true, fundamental change is not merely in external appearance. It is in the biological signal your body consistently emits. Identity is the very source of all frequency, and when that core identity shifts, the universe, by its very nature, must reorganize itself to perfectly match you. You find yourself meeting the right people. Solutions to challenges appear unexpectedly, and you experience a pervasive sense of effortless flow. This is not mere luck or coincidence. This is the precise, intelligent response of the quantum field to the clear, coherent signal you sent from the very start of your day. Many people mistakenly believe that reaching this state of coherence requires intense focus, arduous meditation, or great, sustained effort. But in truth, the heart key works most powerfully through simplicity and gentleness. And when you truly understand this, you cease chasing, stop frantically searching, stop bleeding your energy, and simply learn to stay still, holding one clear, unwavering frequency, allowing your brain, your heart, and the universal field to complete their intricate, harmonious work. When your identity profoundly changes, you no longer have to strive to become anything, because you already are. The most powerful and transformative rituals require no incense, no elaborate words, no external witnesses. They unfold in the quiet, sacred space where only you and your breath truly exist. The external world has conditioned us to believe that rituals must be complex, symbolic, and overtly visible to be considered real or effective. Yet, in the quantum reality, the precise opposite is true. The quieter the ritual, the simpler its execution, the purer its intention, the stronger and more coherent its signal becomes. Every true, lasting transformation begins as a silent ritual, a consistent sequence of small, repeated actions that eventually become your fundamental base frequency, where your mind, heart, and body move as one coherent system, without effort or resistance. When your breath finds its natural, steady rhythm, your brain waves and your heartbeat begin to synchronize. And these two greatest centers of human energy enter a powerful state that science calls coherence. In that coherent state, the electromagnetic field radiating from your heart becomes remarkably smooth and consistent, expanding several meters around you. This field is measurable by scientific instruments and gently influences other oscillating systems, including other people through the principle of resonance. This implies that every time you breathe slowly, honestly, and with profound stillness, you are actively recalibrating not only your own energetic field, but also the energy of the space you enter and the people within it. The silent ritual is not an act of reaching outward, of trying to manipulate external reality. It is a profound return inward, a moment when you cease commanding reality and begin deeply listening to its subtle whispers and inherent wisdom. When you sit down, place a hand gently on your chest and simply feel your own heartbeat. You activate the vagus nerve, which sends vital safety signals throughout your entire body. This process rapidly reduces stress hormones and increases the production of oxytocin and serotonin, the hormones associated with bonding and well-being. Within minutes, your entire biology shifts from a state of defense and survival to one of creation and openness. In that coherent state, you do not need to pray using specific words or intellectual concepts, because your very body itself becomes the prayer. Every cell affirms that you are trusting, releasing, and ready for a new, harmonious order to form within your life. The most fascinating aspect is that when you achieve this state of deep stillness, the parts of the brain responsible for defining your self-identity, the egoic structures, quiet down significantly. The ego steps aside, and in that precise, sacred pause, the quantum doorway to new possibilities opens wide. Every major religion and spiritual tradition throughout history has pointed to this very phenomenon, using its own unique language and metaphors. In India, it is central to practices like pranayama. In Tibetan Buddhism, it is the essence of silent mindfulness. In Christianity, it is famously said, "When you pray, go into your room, close the door, and pray to your Father, who is unseen." All these teachings point to the same profound truth, that genuine connection with the universal field, with the source of all creation, only happens in silence. Yet, modern humans, immersed in an age of constant information and stimulation, often fear silence. They crave music, images, constant movement, and external distractions. Let the gentle placing of your hand over your heart become the ritual that consciously opens and shapes your day. Let each slow, intentional breath guide you into the harmonious rhythm of life. Remember, when you engage in this practice, you are not just preparing for another day. You are actively rewriting the music of your life, note by beautiful note, in perfect harmony with the universe. If right now you feel ready and empowered, tell yourself, "I am the architect of my frequency." When you speak these words, you are doing more than simply uttering sounds. When you consistently perform a small, silent ritual, perhaps breathing consciously for a few moments before you start your work, saying a heartfelt thank you before a meal, or sitting still in meditation before sleep, you send a stable, unwavering message into the field. That message profoundly communicates that you are no longer chasing, no longer frantically striving, but rather deeply trusting the natural unfolding of life. And the signal of trust is without question, the most magnetic of all frequencies. When you practice the heart key consistently, the miracle does not stop at the moment you place your hand over your heart and breathe slowly. Its profound effect spreads throughout your entire day, becoming a new energetic foundation, a clear baseline frequency from which every subsequent experience is shaped and influenced. In truth, you are effectively resetting and recalibrating your entire energy system each morning, much as a musician would meticulously tune their instrument before a significant performance. The only requirement of a true transformative ritual is to make the breath conscious, intentional, and rhythmic. Try this one evening. Turn off all lights, find a quiet space, and sit comfortably. Inhale slowly through your nose for a count of 4. Exhale deeply through your mouth for a count of 6. As you breathe, consciously feel the air move through your chest. Feel your heartbeat begin to slow down. Feel your muscles soften and release tension. Do not try to force positive thoughts. Just be utterly still in that present moment. In that precise moment of stillness, you are actively rewriting your biological signal, teaching your body, at a cellular level, that safety does not depend on external circumstance, that profound peace needs no condition to exist. When your body truly learns this, everything around you begins to change, subtly yet powerfully. Old, conditioned reactions weaken and dissolve. New, coherent neural pathways form in your brain. Stress hormones lose their dominant control, and you begin to live consistently from the frequency of one who has already risen above their old challenges. Many people do not realize that seemingly small choices made in the morning profoundly decide the overall quality of all their subsequent experiences. Begin your day with worry, haste, and scattered attention, and your energetic signal is already fragmented. The quantum field, in its responsive nature, can only mirror back, matching events trouble after trouble, negative coincidences stacking up. But begin your day with intentional coherence, and you effectively reprogram your entire system. That coherence ripples outward like expanding waves in a pond, transforming your reality. If you wonder why your life has not yet changed in the ways you desire, ask yourself how many times you have started a practice but not consistently continued it. Someone might meditate for 7 days and then stop, convinced that results have not yet appeared. Yet, on the 8th day, their biological code might have profoundly shifted if only they had stayed consistent. It's like boiling water. You cannot keep turning off the heat and still expect it to eventually boil. Silent rituals are how you keep the transformative flame steady, even if it starts small, ensuring it is never extinguished. At a certain point, the accumulated heat is enough. The water boils, the steam rises, and you effortlessly reach a higher energetic layer of being. True transformation happens right there, quietly, unseen by the external world. But you will know it has occurred because when you wake, you will feel a different kind of stillness, a brighter clarity in your mind, a subtle yet undeniable sense that something profound has moved and shifted within you. That is the precise moment when reality truly starts listening. You no longer command or force. You harmonize. You no longer control. You align. And when your body sends out such a clear, resonant broadcast, the quantum field unfailingly responds with effortless flow, because flow is the natural, universal language of coherence. Old, stagnant circuits dissolve, and new ones strengthen. Your heart and brain begin working as one coherent system, and you step into the world radiating a distinctly different frequency. Some people, whose energetic waves no longer match yours, will naturally drift away from your life. Others, whose frequencies resonate with your new vibration, will be drawn closer. That is precisely how the field gracefully rearranges your social and energetic network. You do not need to convince anyone of your transformation. It is the direct, intelligent reflection of the signal of coherence you sent out that very morning. This is the profound power you can consciously generate each day, without ever waiting for outside favor or external circumstances to align. The quantum field does not reward or punish. It only reflects. Dim, Fragmented signals bring dim, chaotic responses. Clear, coherent signals bring clear, harmonious responses. This is why sustaining the heart key practice is not just a short ritual. It is the fundamental way you consciously shape your reality. Life itself transforms into a continuous sequence of silent ceremonies, where every single act is sacred, because every act is done in a state of profound coherence. That is the true life of one who has mastered the art of turning stillness into immense power. No more proving yourself, no more seeking external validation, no more reliance on outer forms, only conscious breath, a quiet mind, and consistent repetition grounded in unwavering trust. When the ritual becomes your natural rhythm, the field cannot help but respond in kind. You will not need to actively call for miracles. Miracles will find you, soft as air, gentle as light, yet powerful enough to profoundly alter the entire trajectory of your life. Every change you consciously create within yourself never stays confined to you alone. It moves outward, silently, precisely, unstoppably, like ripples expanding elegantly after a single stone gently touches the surface of still water. The world calls this phenomenon resonance. Yet, in truth, it is the fundamental way the quantum field responds whenever a new frequency becomes stable and consistent within a being. When you shift your internal state, your entire energetic network, the complex web of energy around you, must reorganize itself to match that new, dominant vibration. This is not merely a spiritual metaphor. It is the subtle, undeniable physics of existence. Dr. Rupert Sheldrake, a renowned biologist, described this as the morphic field, an invisible field of information containing behavioral and emotional blueprints that beings of the same kind unconsciously synchronize with. They broadcast clear, unambiguous signals, and the universe faithfully reflects that clarity back to them. You, too, can become such a person. You do not need to change the world initially. You begin within yourself, with your own heartbeat and your conscious breath. This is the profound power you always possessed, and now you are powerfully reminded to consciously use it. If, in this moment, you feel a deep resonance, place your hand gently over your heart. Inhale and exhale, slowly and deeply. This is the profound power of the invisible wave, what the ancients often called virtue, and modern science increasingly refers to as resonance. Each human being is a powerful transmitter, and every frequency you consistently carry is a unique message broadcast into the vast energetic space. Some transmit worry, some transmit profound calm, some transmit unwavering faith, and that dominant vibration directly determines how the world, in its responsive capacity, reacts to and aligns with them. There is a truth you must always remember. Your energy does not only decide your temporary emotions, it profoundly shapes the entire trajectory of your life. This is because every moment you are emitting a frequency into the quantum field, and the quantum field consistently responds precisely to that frequency, acting as a perfect mirror. When you maintain coherence in the morning, you create a strong, positive foundation for your day. But just as important is your conscious ability to sustain and restore coherence throughout the day. Modern life is replete with triggers. You only need to consistently hold your internal coherence, and your very presence becomes its own powerful language, understood beyond words. Yet, resonance does not spread instantly or materialize on demand. It inherently takes time. Just as waves created in water need time to gently reach the shore. This is often where most people lose their patience and disrupt the process. They send out a coherent signal, then constantly check, within minutes or hours, if the world has already changed dramatically. That constant checking itself creates interference, effectively breaking the transmission of their new frequency. Your energy needs unwavering consistency to transform initial ripples into powerful, shaping waves. A single ripple quickly fades, but consistent repetition, at a steady, rhythmic pace, builds a current strong enough to fundamentally reshape the surface of reality. Each time you manage to maintain inner peace amidst external chaos, you amplify your coherent wave. And when that wave reaches a critical amplitude and stability, the reality around you must adjust accordingly, not because you aggressively forced it, but because the resonance has become undeniable, an intrinsic part of the field. Notice how those who cultivate deep inner calm tend to naturally calm everything and everyone around them. A composed and centered mother can effortlessly quiet her agitated child. A centered and grounded leader can steady and unify their entire team. A deeply grounded lover can soften and harmonize a challenging relationship. With regular practice, your body and mind learn and internalize this powerful pathway to calm. Your nervous system remembers that coherence is its natural, safe, and healthy state. This means that the more frequently you practice the micro-reset, the faster and easier the return to coherence becomes. It becomes like a familiar road you can reach in a single, effortless step. You then begin to understand that true strength is not found in never losing coherence, but in knowing how to gracefully return to it without self-criticism, anger, or judgment. It's simply the act of returning. It responds only to authenticity, to the genuine frequency being emitted. A restless, anxious mind cannot transmit profound peace. A doubtful, insecure heart cannot truly teach or inspire trust. Your frequency never lies. It is the purest form of communication. Once you deeply understand this, you stop trying to inspire others through outward means, and instead begin focusing on the purity and stability of your own internal signal, knowing with absolute certainty that the world will naturally synchronize with it. A stressful traffic jam transforms from a source of frustration into a precious moment to inhale and exhale slowly, consciously preventing your energy from being dragged into the collective chaos. Each time you engage in this practice, you not only change the immediate experience for yourself, but you are actively training your entire system to hold clarity, calm, and coherence under virtually any circumstance. This cultivates a deep, liberating sense of inner freedom, because you are no longer dependent on external conditions to feel peace or well-being. That is why the more peace you generously give, the more peaceful you yourself become. The more gratitude you sincerely express, the more reasons you naturally find to be grateful. Every coherent wave you send out into the field comes back to you in a perfectly matching form, not as an external reward, but as the natural completion of an energetic cycle. This is the fundamental law of energetic balance, simple and absolute. When you deeply understand this, waiting for outcomes no longer feels like uncertain purgatory, because you know that even while nothing seems to be happening on the surface, the field is actively replicating your stable signal across its entire network. Some profound changes appear within hours, some within months, and others may take years to fully manifest. Yet, time is never the ultimate measure of the effectiveness of your coherent state. Each day you consistently sustain your true frequency. Your wave trajectory deepens. You actively shift the frequency you are transmitting, and that instantaneous shift profoundly shapes how reality responds to you in the very next moments. It powerfully affirms that you always possess the innate power to choose and influence your reality with each conscious breath you take. Imagine practicing 10 micro-resets a day. That means 10 times you consciously return your energetic signal to clarity and coherence. 10 times you not only change how you feel internally, but also actively redirect the stream of events and experiences forming in the quantum field around you. Sustain this habit for weeks and months, and your life will transform in ways that conventional logic simply cannot explain. Doors will open, opportunities will appear, and meaningful synchronicities will become a daily, natural occurrence. This is not mystical or magical thinking. It is the natural, predictable outcome of consistently sending clear, coherent signals into the responsive universe. Furthermore, micro-resets influence not only you, but also those around you. As you return to your center, you radiate an infectious sense of peace and calm, and others instinctively feel it. A tense meeting room softens perceptibly in your presence. A chaotic family environment regains a sense of calm and stability when you consciously bring your own inner stability to it. This is how one coherent person profoundly influences the collective whole, much like one perfectly tuned note, gently pulling the entire orchestra back into key and harmony. The micro reset is not only a personal technique, it is a powerful collective act. Each time you practice, you not only heal and uplift yourself, but you also subtly adjust the frequency of your shared environment and the collective consciousness around you. This is precisely why ancient traditions consistently emphasized the profound importance of returning to the breath, because they intuitively understood that breath is the direct bridge between human consciousness and energy, and from there to the vast, intelligent quantum field. Modern science is now beginning to comprehensively prove what was always known intuitively. And you, with each conscious micro-reset, are actively reviving this timeless wisdom and applying it powerfully in your daily life. You see then that coherence is not a distant, unattainable destination. It is a continual, conscious choice you make in every moment. Each time you are pulled away from your center, you can choose to return. Each time stress or reactivity rises, you can consciously interrupt it and come back to your coherent center. This repeated intentional choice is the true, enduring foundation of a luminous, coherent, and deeply fulfilling life. That is why I want you to firmly anchor this powerful affirmation in your mind. With each breath, I return to my center. Feel these words not merely as language, but as a powerful command sent directly into the quantum field. So the universe knows you are always ready to align with your original, highest frequency. From that transformative moment, you are no longer controlled or dictated by external circumstances. You become the conscious one, actively adjusting reality through your consistent, conscious return to coherence. There is a truth that most people never fully realize. Distraction is the very reason their precious energy leaks away, bit by bit, throughout the day. Every incessant notification on the phone, every unfinished thought from yesterday, every looming worry about tomorrow, each of these acts like an invisible string, pulling their vital energy out of their coherent center. And when their attention is constantly divided and fragmented across multiple demands, the frequency they emit becomes faint, fragmented, and simply not strong enough for the quantum field to respond clearly or effectively. This is precisely why many people feel utterly exhausted at the end of the day, even without having faced particularly big events or physically demanding tasks.